Hello, and welcome to Love on the Pod, a podcast about all the cheesy romantic TV movies we adore. I'm Danny.
I'm Sherri.
And I'm Jessica.
This week, we are talking all about Candace Cameron Bure's new mystery series, Ainsley McGregor. The first in what we hope to be many, many more mystery movies, this debut film is entitled A Case for the Winemaker. So I'm really excited to talk about this movie, but first, I wanted to share with you guys a very exciting update that I learned about this week. Sorry.
It wasn't that exciting.
So exciting. You forgot what it was.
Well, I just had like a moment because I realized when this airs, it's not going to be like brand new news that I just discovered.
I thought you were just building the suspense. I want to tell you, but I'm not going to.
But I'm not gonna. Can you guess? Okay, so I wanted to share with you guys some exciting information that I discovered this week. We all have been watching tons of Hallmark movies on Hallmark Movies Now. I think we mentioned before that Hallmark Movies Now is becoming Hallmark Plus. Mm-hmm. And there are going to be some really fun shows that are going to be coming out when Hallmark Plus is the new app, when it makes the switch. So by the time this episode airs, Hallmark Plus will already be established. So some of these shows may be already available for you to watch, and they sound really awesome. The first one is Finding Mr. Christmas. And this one is hosted by Jonathan Bennett and Melissa Peterman. And it's a reality competition where contestants will compete to be the next Hallmark hunk. And the grand prize is getting a lead role in one of this year's Countdown to Christmas films.
One of this year's films?
Yes. So it must have been filmed a while ago.
Oh,
is what
right,
I'm guessing.
Oh, gotcha.
Because I'm sure all these Christmas films have already been finished by now.
Okay. I hope whoever it is, I hope they're actually a good actor and not just like attractive.
Yeah.
I feel like that's got to be part of the competition. They have to prove that they've got the acting chops.
There has to be. I mean, it's hosted by Jonathan Bennett, and he's both, right? Super Hallmark hunk and also very talented actor. And with Melissa Peterman, I mean, I feel like it's just going to be hilarious and really fun to watch. So,
and somebody give Melissa Peterman a lead role, please.
Yes, please.
I love her. She's hilarious. I've never seen her in a lead role. I don't think ever.
No, I don't think so either.
She's always kind of the funny, punchy sidekick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
To see her. She's the lead.
Yeah, that would be really fun. I hope she does. There's another show that is called Ready, Set, Glow. It's going to be hosted by Wes Brown, who is in Biltmore Christmas and also Haul Out the Holly franchise that came out last year and the year before. He is hosting this show where he is going to be traveling the U.S. and featuring the best lit and most well-decorated homes in the United States. So that sounds really fun. There's also going to be a show called Celebrations with Lacey Chabert, a small town dating show with Ashley Williams. And I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I think that this show with Ashley Williams, the parents get to pick out the suitor for their kid. It's very Hallmark movie-esque. It sounds hilarious. And then there's also going to be a DIY home improvement show with Luke. There's going to be a DIY home improvement show with Luke McFarlane. So sounds like lots of really, really fun things. I'm going to be camped in front of my TV for a long time. Watching
I love
all
that they're
these
mixing
shows.
it up and adding things other than just movies.
Yeah, totally. It's going to be really fun. All right. So shall we talk about our movie of the day?
Yes. Let's dive in.
Okay. So talking about Ainsley McGregor, A Case for the Winemaker. This film is about a former criminologist, Ainsley McGregor, who returns to her Texas hometown opening a craft market. When a friend's winery sees a murder, Ainsley's crime-solving skills prove invaluable as she teaches criminology and investigates the case. Thank you, IMDb, for that summary. This
Always
movie was
coming in
released. Always.
clutch.
This movie was released on July 25th, 2024 on Great American Pureflix, and then was released on October 5th, 2024 on Great American Family. So the first several months, access was only, wow. For the first several months, there was only access if you are a Pureflix subscriber. And then October 5th, it came out on Great American Family for everyone to watch. So this movie stars Candace Cameron Bure as Ainsley McGregor, obviously known for her role as DJ Tanner. She also was Nicole in My Christmas Hero, which came out last year, and Maggie in A Christmas Present, which came out the year before, and about 150 billion other Christmas movies. It also stars Robin Dunn, who plays her brother, Ryan McGregor. He is also Captain Mark Jennings in My Christmas Hero. He starred or didn't star in that one, but he was in that one along with Candace Cameron Bure. And then he also is in one of the Good Witch movies, The Good Witch Destiny. And he was also seen in the Aurora Tea Garden mysteries. So I believe it was only maybe one of the Aurora Tea Garden movies that he was in. So him and Candace Cameron have worked together before. And then finally, we have Aaron Ashmore, who plays the fire chief love interest. He is also in Ginny and Georgia. He's in Sky Med, and he also was on Veronica Mars. So there you go.
I feel like he's a very recognizable face. He's been in a lot of stuff. I watched him in a Lifetime movie where he played a police officer. It was actually very good. It was one that I wish they would make sequels to, but I don't think they ever did.
No. What was it
I
called?
don't know though. I don't remember.
Helpful. Thank you.
Okay, so I told Danny I had some juicy information that I put out. Aaron Ashmore has a brother who looks just like him, and his name is Sean Ashmore, and he's the one who was in the Lifetime movie. So they look identical.
Are they twins or just brothers?
I don't know if they look like twins.
What's the birth date? Let's do some comparisons.
Who is Aaron Ashmore?
He plays Jake, the fire chief, in this movie.
Yes, they are identical twins.
Wow.
They're both actors. And they look identical. They look so much alike. It's wild.
Oh my word. They look identical. That's crazy.
Yeah.
My goodness. Oh, he was in Cadet Kelly.
And, he was.
And The Boys. My husband loves that show. X-Men. Okay. Well, there you go. Crazy. That's pretty cool.
I didn't know what a criminologist did, so I looked it up. And a criminologist compiles data and statistics to determine where and how often crime is occurring, studies crime patterns to create possible solutions to prevent future crimes. So that's
interesting.
That's what Ainsley McGregor does as a living. And I guess she teaches criminology now.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool in this movie that for once, the person that's, trying to unofficially assist with a investigation, she was actually qualified to do so. She actually had a background in criminology. She wasn't just a random pet shop owner,
Right.
So I really liked that. Another thing that I found interesting about this movie is that it is actually based on a book series, the Ainsley McGregor series. It's a 5-book series by author Candace Havens. And this one is a case for the winemaker. It is the first book in the series. There's also a case for the yarn maker, a case for the candle maker, a case for the toy maker, and a case for the cookie baker. So I have a feeling we will be seeing these movies roll out probably in that order. And Candace Cameron did confirm that there are more Ainsley McGregor movies coming in the future.
I think they've actually already filmed a second one.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I was wondering, because this is the case for the winemaker, I didn't know if that came about because Candace Cameron Bure and her husband have a winemaking company and if that played into it, but it sounds like it didn't. It's based on a book.
I did not know that. Do they have their own wine?
Mm-hmm.
No kidding.
They do.
It's like a 2-year waiting list to get a bottle.
Oh, wow.
I looked it up once. Yeah, it's because it's just, I think they have a very, very tiny area in Napa where they grow.
Is it like, do they live on the vineyard? Do you know? Bray Family Wines.
I don't, she hasn't given me her new address yet. But
she never calls anymore. I don't know.
Come on.
I know she has moved out of LA, but I don't know where. And she did confirm today that it wasn't to Texas. So everybody thought she moved to Texas because Natasha moved to Texas.
Oh,
But
I see.
She did not.
Wow.
But she said that she was feeling unsafe in her home. And so they had to
Oh,
move.
no. Well, that's probably why she didn't tell people where she moved to then.
Yeah. But they do have a house in Napa too. So maybe they're staying there. I have no idea.
Huh.
No clue.
Okay.
I'll let you know if she updates.
If she ever sends you a Christmas card. All right. So, yeah, that's really cool. Bray Family Wines. Maybe I should get myself on the waiting list.
There you go.
2 years
I
flies
put myself on the waiting list probably over a year ago. So
okay, well, if you get off the waiting list, order me a bottle, would you?
Okay.
All right. So before we get into the nitty gritty of the movie, what were your initial thoughts on this one?
Jump right in.
Did anyone watch the movie?
I did watch it. I feel like I watched it so long ago now.
I watched it twice. I watched it again last night. And I mean, I enjoyed it. I have seen I would say I've seen about 85% of the Aurora Teagarden movies. So I have not seen every single one. And I really liked those. And I think this is on track to be very similar to that. And I'm interested. I wish I had known that it was a book a little bit earlier because I didn't realize that until like 2 days ago. Because I think I would have read the book, but it wouldn't have gotten here from Amazon fast enough. So darn. Yeah. But I really liked most of it. I mean, I thought the casting was great. I thought the clothing was great. She's just so stylish personally that I think she has a lot of influence over what her characters wear. And the dog, love him.
I loved her conversations with George. Yeah.
So cute. And how you can tell she has this relationship with her dog. And yeah, I enjoyed this film. Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I love the wardrobe. So stinking cute. I loved her conversations with George, as I said. I love all the little grandma always said quotes that they threw in here. I will say, I feel like they will get their groove a little bit as they go along making more films, because there were some things that kind of fell flat for me. But overall, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I would agree. I really enjoyed watching it. There were a few things, and we'll get into those. a few little notes I have for you, producers, directors, whoever cares. None of you care, but I'm going to share my thoughts anyway. But I really enjoyed watching it. I'm a big fan of Candace Cameron Bure. I'm always excited to watch her new films that she puts out. So yeah, I was excited to see this movie, and I did really enjoy watching it.
Loved that there were no more terrible wigs.
No terrible wigs.
Thank goodness.
Yes.
She had great hair.
The styling was great. Yes, I really liked that as well. Okay, so buckle up, ladies. Here we go. We're going to solve another murder.
Okay.
So,
it's been a while.
Can I just make one note? before we get into the first scene. As soon as the movie started, they're panning over this beautiful winery, and then the title comes on the screen and it says Ainsley McGregor Mysteries, and then it says A Case for the Winemaker underneath. And there's this clip art wine glass with red wine that's probably supposed to mimic blood pouring out of it. It's like, why are we using clip art? What's going on?
Uh-huh.
They could have done away with the wine glass. I thought that looked very cheesy, very like 7th grade film class project.
It was like the early 90s Hallmark movies.
Yes.
Where they all start like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like a bad PowerPoint.
Yeah, it's like PowerPoint. I was expecting it to like stand up and tip over and stand up and tip over.
I would have rather seen them do a play on, the more dramatic, like Game of Thrones credits or something like that. Because they're going to make this a series. They know they're going to. Their star player is in this movie. Right. So I feel like they could have invested a little bit more in the opening credits.
Yes.
Yeah.
100% agree. And I hope in the second movie that they will remedy that. I like your idea about an opening credit scene that could be used in movies moving forward. I think that would be great.
Set the bar high from the start.
Yeah. Okay.
And honestly, that's not that expensive to do.
No.
It's really.
No. Not at all.
No. You could hire a graphic designer and probably have them do it for $2,000.
Or just cut footage from the movie and use it.
Yeah, true.
As your opening scene, I don't know. Just showing each character and anyway.
Yeah.
Minor details, but I saw that and I was like, really? Come on, GAC, step it up. Step it up. All right. So this movie opens with Ainsley McGregor over at her friend Shannon's house. They're having a nice little lunch. During this lunch, we find out some important information. First of all, being that Ainsley McGregor has recently moved back to Sweetwater, Texas, where they are now. She has just launched her new business called Bless Your Arts, and it is a community craft fair where people can come and shop, local artists, local vendors, and it's a really cool old vintage schoolhouse that she's remodeled and turned into this craft fair.
What a cute name. Bless Your
Very
Arts.
cute. Yes. I thought that was really creative. And that is what it's called in the book too. Very, very cute.
Yeah, a nod to all the Southern things that they nod to throughout the movie.
There are a lot of Southern nods in this movie.
One might argue a few too many.
I would probably agree with that.
Isn't it Sweet River though? Not Sweetwater.
Oh, is it Sweet River?
Yes, it's a sweet crude river is what they were talking about.
Yes, Sweetwater. I'm sorry. Yes, Sweetwater.
No, Sweet River.
Sweet River.
Sweet River, not Sweetwater.
Okay. Well then, I have some information for you guys that doesn't matter because it's about Sweetwater.
It's okay. I found some information on Sweet River. I can pick up the slack there.
Because that's a real place, isn't it? Sweet River?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah, Sweetwater is.
Sweetwater is. Yeah, Sweetwater, Texas is a real place. But Sweet River
Sweet
is
tea,
not.
I mean.
Sweet cheese.
Oh my gosh. But we knew we were in Texas, right? Because I noticed this community vendor space was so beautifully laid out and everybody's vendor booth was so well curated and just lovely. And then you get to the checkout counter and then there's this big banner and it says Texas.
And it says it twice. It says Texas, Texas.
So
we're real proud down here.
Just in case you didn't see it the first time, here it is again. You're still in Texas.
Yeah.
Did you notice though that in her shop she has a Christmas tree?
I did notice that.
Oh, I missed that.
And they never talk about it.
No.
They never mention that we're near Christmas or anything. And I'm like, I wonder if they filmed back to back. I wonder if they immediately went into the next film and they were like, oh crap, we just left that tree up. Oh well. Who
It
cares?
could be, or I thought maybe they originally thought it was going to be released around Christmas time. So maybe they'd throw some Christmas trees in there to make it kind of holiday. I don't know.
And maybe I didn't notice it because I would love to have a Christmas tree up all year long. Anyway, so
Yeah.
it didn't seem out of place.
Because
for me.
having lived here, although her clothes are beautiful, they're not
Too warm.
appropriate for the weather down here.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. She was in like turtleneck sweater dress, green pea coat, like heavy
wool clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
High boots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
She
cute.
was dressed
but-
for Vancouver where they were filming. So, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. There's really never a time that anyone should be wearing that in Texas, is there?
You might get a couple of days where you can like pretend.
Okay. So maybe this was her pretending season.
Maybe. Unless you get like a random ice storm or whatever, but then you're not wandering around town selling murders. I think.
Right.
Maybe you are.
Right.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Okay, I got you all off track. Sorry.
That's okay. That's what we do. So she just launched this business, Bless Your Arts. We also find out that Shannon and her husband, Mike, Shannon is Ainsley's friend who owns the winery that they're having lunch at. Shannon and her husband, Mike, own the winery, and they also own a coffee shop. First of all, I was like, why? Why do they need? They have a winery and a taste. It's not even just a winery. It's open to the public. It's a winery and a tasting room. And they have a coffee shop, and it's just the two of them. They have one employee. That's crazy to me. But okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and the winery is massive.
absolutely massive.
And
Just-
it's beautiful.
I mean, that's a multi-million-dollar wine.
Yes. Yes. But it's just her and her
But it's
husband and
just
one
Shannon and
employee.
her husband.
It's just, oh gosh. Yeah.
So we
Oh.
also find out that Ainsley has moved back fairly recently by the encouragement of her brother, Ryan, who is the town police chief. So that's kind of the foundation, I guess, of the start of this movie and the conversation between Ainsley and Shannon. All of that is revealed. One thing, though, that I couldn't stop staring at was, what were they drinking with the sprigs of pine in it? Did you notice that?
I think it was rosemary.
Was it rosemary? It looked like straight from a pine tree. Maybe it was rosemary. Whatever it was like a little whiskey glass, but it was too light to be whiskey. And there was like a piece of pine or a stick of rosemary in it. Like, what is happening? Is this something?
Maybe they were trying to make it a Christmas movie, but very subtly. Let's just put part of a tree in this drink. And people will think of Christmas.
Tree and pine sprigs in our
That's
apple
weird.
cider.
Especially if they're at a winery. Like, why aren't you drinking wine? It was very weird.
Oh, for real? Yeah.
Maybe they saved the good
Fine
wine
wine.
glasses for the customers and they drink out of the eyeballs. It's
With
fine.
the pine trees.
Fine wine.
All right. So Ainsley and Shannon decide to go on into the tasting room. And as they head inside, they're chit-chatting, yada, yada, yada. They come around a corner. There's a dead man on the floor. And Shannon immediately starts screaming, but Ainsley beelines it right for him, checks his pulse, and she looks up at Shannon and she goes, "He's dead."
She said it just like that too. But she sounded like DJ Tanner, and I was just cracking up. Kimmy, he's dead.
Dead. Well, I was watching this with my daughters, and Abby goes, "Why did she say that so joyfully?"
That's like the movie we watched a couple months ago where she was talking about the poison. She's like, "I knew it.
Yeah.
He was poisoned.
He was poisoned.
This is thrilling."
This is my "I told you so" moment. Oh my gosh. I did notice, though, we have talked about this in several of the mystery movie reviews that we have done, that a lot of the time in these films, it's poison because they're not typically bloody, gory movies. And I would have expected the same or less from GAC, but this was actually a pretty gnarly scene. There was a broken bottle. There was blood on the ground, on his head. So it's a little more gory than I was expecting.
Yeah.
And he actually looked dead.
He did look dead.
He didn't look like he was an actor who just laid down there. He actually looked dead.
Yeah, you couldn't see like him breathing up and down,
No.
like a half smirk on his face, his eyelids fluttering. No, he looked dead.
Which we have seen.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So now after they find the dead body, immediately we go into a time machine and it goes back to the day before. Now this, I didn't really think it was necessary, to be honest. So it goes back the day before. We see the whole day before the murder, and then it cuts back to after they find the dead body. And I just personally felt like I thought it would have flowed better if it had just been chronological. I didn't think they needed the time jump personally.
I didn't mind the time jump, but I didn't like how they repeated the whole scene again.
Yeah.
They played the whole thing again. Like, I've seen this. I saw this already. I don't need to see it again.
We know what happened.
We know what happened. And it wasn't like, oh, this is from a different angle or something. It was pretty much all the same.
Yeah, the exact same scene.
Yeah.
So now that we're the day before, we see Ainsley go through her day. She teaches at the university. She has her grand opening of Bless Your Arts. And during the grand opening, which was poppin', it was real busy. The whole town was lined up outside. As soon as she opened the door, they all came rushing in. It was a very successful opening. And amongst all of that chaos, Mike, one of the owners of the winery, is being shouted at by some mysterious man. He is shouting at him that he'll never get a better offer. He's being very aggressive. And finally he leaves. But Ainsley is very concerned about this. She's asking Mike if he's okay, and he's acting kind of weird. So as soon as I saw him, I was like, I bet that's the dead guy. What about you guys?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right away. It was pretty obvious. Okay. So after she closes up Bless Your Arts for the day, she heads over to the police station to see her little brother, the police chief, Ryan, and she tells him about this man. Now, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Mom, you have a brother that was a police officer. If you saw an exchange like that between your friend, would you go to your brother and have him check it out?
No.
Okay. All right. That is what I was thinking. I was like, this seems kind of
People
dramatic.
argue all the time.
Like, why are you going to the police about this? They just had an argument over selling the winery. What is it necessary to go to the police?
And that was one of my problems with the movie, is that she was over dramatic a lot of the time. Big reactions, annoyed with people a lot. That bothered me. That annoyed me. But we'll get into that later. But yeah, I mean, if people argue, you're not going to run to the police every time you see an argument. You know, if he had pulled a gun on him or something, obviously, yes. But there was nothing.
He was like, I'm going to shank you later.
Well, and when she tells her brother about this guy, she said something smells funny. And he's like, does it smell funny with your community nose or your crime nose? And she goes, crime nose. And he's like, well, that has me concerned. That scene had me rolling. I was like, does it smell funny with your crime nose?
She's not a dog.
Right. I was going to say, she's not a bloodhound. Yeah, there were a few moments that I think struck me as funny that weren't meant to be funny.
No.
But
but I always enjoy that. You know, that's kind of the fun of the movies sometimes, especially these made-for-TV movies. Sometimes they can be really cheesy and they make me laugh when they're not supposed to be funny, but it just makes me enjoy it all the more.
And it's the same with the books they're based on. A lot of times the books are light tropey breeds that are not meant to be like anything heavy.
Totally.
And it's just delightful.
Yep.
A delightful murder.
This is a
Sometimes you
charming
need that
murder.
though,
I
you
mean,
know,
sweet
a
water.
story that you don't have to read into too much. That's not gonna,
Yeah.
you know, change your life. It's not going to make you
Mhm.
cry. It's not going to be an
Yeah.
emotional read or an emotional watch. It's just fun. It's just entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a little escape.
Yep. So after this chat with her brother at the police station, it goes back to present day. So I think this is part of why I felt like it could have just been chronological, because I didn't feel like there was very much revealed in the day before that was necessary. We really didn't even need to see the day before, to be honest. It could have just kept going from the murder. So I think these time jumps can be really effective when there's aha moments that are revealed the day before, but I just didn't really feel like there was anything of substance in the day before.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, because they could have fit her opening her store in somewhere else.
Sure. The next day.
Or that could have been the first scene, honestly.
Yeah.
They could have had her open her store and then she goes to lunch with her friend, because everybody who opens their store on the first day will take off and go by themselves to have lunch. And just leave the store to run
Just
on
leave the
its
store to
own.
run itself. Yeah.
Well, you
I
know,
have staff.
later on, it's like the
Whatever.
second day and she asked someone to close up for her. So it's fine.
Yeah, some random person. She's like, you got it? Okay.
Close up for
see
me.
ya.
You're just a vendor here. It's not like it's your
do you-
store.
Do you even know how to do that? Apparently, yes.
It's fine. It's Sweet River, Texas. I think that ever happens there, except for murder.
Except for murder.
Well, and so she has this market, but she requires all of her vendors to be there all day long, every day. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tiny little store. It's not like it's Pike Place Market. It's little. It's weird. I don't think they've shopped at markets. Not enough markets.
Although it did remind me, so it reminded me a little bit the way she had it set up of the downtown market in Charleston, because that is every day and the vendors come in and set up and they're there all day, every day. And it's so busy, just crazy busy all the time. And granted, that is a very busy tourist town. So there's constantly tourists coming in and going to the market. So it's always busy. But it reminded me of the same kind of business model, just on a smaller scale inside of a renovated schoolhouse. So a little different. Not smack dab in the middle of downtown.
Right.
So.
Right.
All right. So we're back to present day. And we discover that, yes, in fact, the dead body belongs to a man named Rick Dean, who is the man that was shouting at Mike inside of Bless Your Arts. Surprise, surprise. Now, this is when we're introduced to Shannon and Mike's assistant, Danny. He comes in the middle of them, you know, settling the murder scene, taking pictures, bringing in all the police people. I don't know, whatever they do when someone dies, they're doing all of that. Danny Avery comes in and he says he's been out of town all day, just got back. And this was kind of weird to me because usually if there's like a crime scene, people can't just walk in. Like he would have seen police cars and there would have been caution tape and whatnot. But he walked in like he thought he was just going to work. And he's like, what's happening?
But did anybody's spidey senses go up when he walked in?
As soon as he walked in, I looked at the girls and I said, he did it. As soon as he walked in. So Michael is taken in for questioning because he was closest when the murder happened. He happened to be in the building. He had come out, he had like spilled wine on himself. So he took a shower and he came out and found this crazy murder scene. He was taken in for questioning. Now, my question here why were Ainsley and Shannon not taken in for questioning? They were
Exactly.
also right there, but Mike's the only one that was taken in.
It's kind of that hot tip that Ainsley gave her brother. They were like, I have your number, guy.
Yep, that was it. That's why we needed the time jump.
My sister told me you got in an argument with some random guy yesterday. So you're a murderer.
He's dead. You killed him.
Yes. Okay, so
well, because
go ahead.
The wife is there too. Like you said, the wife is there too. So why wouldn't she be under suspicion?
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, she has an alibi, I suppose, because she was having lunch with Ainsley, but they're each other's alibi, right? So they still should be questioned.
Sure.
I don't know. Whatever. Just call me Detective Danielle. Anyway, so Mike goes in for questioning. We find out that Rick Dean was threatening to expose them for illegal business practices, which Mike said were baseless. And we also hear Mike say that their winery isn't doing well and he doesn't know why. Now, we also hear Shannon say the same thing to Ainsley later. She says, the books say that they're not doing well and they're losing money, but she doesn't know why. I'm like, don't you have a money person? Don't you have an accountant? Don't you have
bookkeeper?
Somebody that could explain to you why you're losing money? You literally don't know why you're losing money. Ainsley says your wine was flying off the shelves. I thought you said this was the best sales year you've ever had. And Shannon's saying, yeah, it is. I don't understand why we're losing money. Are you stupid? What? Somebody help me understand.
I mean, I can understand the idea of feeling like you're selling a lot, but also hemorrhaging money. Like that can happen in a business where you're selling a lot, but you're still spending way too much. That can happen. But to say, I don't know.
I have no idea
what's going on. That's like, I'm a terrible business owner. And somehow I have 2 businesses. And how did that
Two of them, yeah. Maybe you're spending too much time at the coffee shop, so you don't know what's going on with your wine business.
Hire a bookkeeper, hire a forensic accountant if you don't know what's going on. Like, I don't understand.
Yes, that
don't just let Danny boy over here do your books for you.
I know. What is Danny's job? Their assistant Danny. What is his job? He walks in with boxes a lot.
And kill people. Okay, that's
right. Like what is he interning for? He does the books, but he also helps stack bottles of wine and carry stuff around and acts suspicious. I don't understand. What? Okay.
Well, who's making the wine? Is Mike making all the wine?
Impossible. That winery is giant. Where are your staff? They're out there picking the grapes
running the coffee shop.
What? Yeah,
she's making coffee. Who's making the wine?
Okay, I really did enjoy this movie, you guys. I really did enjoy it. There's just
inconsistencies, that
some moments that made me chuckle.
Well, you know what? They had a budget. They could not hire a bunch of winemakers.
Right.
So
it was the case for the winemaker.
Yeah, just one.
Yep. All right. So Jake, the firefighter, who also happens to be her brother's best friend. I thought it was really cute that the police chief and the firefighter or fire chief, police chief and the fire chief are best friends. That's really adorable.
Yeah.
And he has had his eyes on her forever. And so the day after she's discovered this dead body, he comes by, bless your arts, because she just goes back to work and she's fine. No big deal. It's fine. Her best friend's husband is, being detained. And she discovered a dead body in her best friend's tasting room yesterday, but she's going to get her dog George and head on over to Bless Your Arts. And Jake, the fireman, comes to check on her and see if she's okay. It was very sweet. And he invites her on a date and she agrees. So at 7:30 after her book club meeting, she's going to go to dinner with Jake. Now, I have a question. I feel like in these movies, whenever anyone goes on dates, they're like, I'll pick you up at 8 or I'll pick you up at 7:30. Aren't you starving? I can't eat dinner. If you're picking me up at 7:30, that means we're probably not going to eat until 8:30. My stomach's going to be growling so loud, you won't be able to hear me tell you my name. Do people do that?
In big cities, but like skip your book club to go to dinner with this guy.
Right.
Like,
the handsome fireman?
Are the restaurants even still open at that time?
It's Sweet River, Texas. It's not like it's Chicago. Although I don't know if I'd want to be downtown Chicago at 8:30 at night.
No.
Probably not.
So Ainsley can just be everywhere all the time because she's got, bless your arts, she's got to teach her class at the college. She had time to chat with Jake and make plans for book club. And then she runs on over to the hospital morgue because she has a friend who works there. I'm not sure what her plan was. I don't know if she just wanted to talk to him and see if she could get any information, or if she was going to try and be like the girl in Family Practice Mysteries and go, investigate the body. I don't know. I'm not sure what her plan was. But when she gets there, she overhears Rachel Dean, who was the wife of Rick Dean, and Bridget Dean, the daughter, and they're standing outside of this room in the morgue, and they're supposed to be going in to identify the body, right? And they're in this very heated argument. Threats are flying. They're yelling at each other. It's very intense. They both go in to identify the body, and Ainsley sneaks over and sees a pair of gloves. So she pulls them out of Rachel Dean's pocket and notices that there is a cut in the glove. This is a really big moment in the movie. It's like very much focused on. They like zoom in, like it's a really big deal. Like, I have gloves with holes in them. Why is this such a big deal? I don't understand.
Although Rachel does not seem like the kind of person who would wear gloves that have holes.
That's true, which is another question. Yes. Like, why does she keep these gloves?
True. True.
Why? Stupid. Not smart.
And we never see Bridget again, right? After this?
No, we never see her again. They talk about her, but we don't see her again.
No, we never see her again. Okay. So
all
right. These are all people that typically would be brought in for questioning because they're closest to the victim. Right. But
Rachel, his wife, was in town with him. So why is she not immediately being brought in for questioning?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, I have to read the book to see how it goes, but I think they could have left Bridget out completely. I don't think she was necessary.
Yeah, I agree. Totally.
They could have gotten rid of her and hired some winemakers to just mingle it out in the background so that we knew who was making the wine.
Us. I will be the winemaker number 12.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just, pan across and we're all just making wine.
Yeah.
I'll scrub my feet and I will stomp those grapes, no problem.
Absolutely. I love Lucy's style.
They probably brought, what's her name? Bridget? Is that the daughter? Did you say Bridget? Probably to just have more people that we would suspect as the viewer,
right.
Maybe it's this person, maybe it's this person. So I'm guessing that's what they did. But again, she wasn't necessary.
I wonder if she was originally in it more and maybe they had to cut some scenes. But I also wonder in the book, maybe she is a bigger part of the story in order, like you said, to make the reader think it could be this person, it could be this person, take them kind of down a path that leads somewhere other than the obvious killer.
Yeah.
So it's around this time that we find out that the cause of death was actually not the broken wine bottle. So Rick Dean was hit in the head with a wine bottle. Blunt force trauma knocked him out, but he didn't die from the wine bottle. There was a large shard of glass that was used to stab him, which is what killed him. And the murder weapon is missing, this shard of glass. There weren't any shards of glass that were big enough in the scene to have done that. And we find out that the murderer was likely left-handed because of the angle of the weapon. So, knowing this, having this information, Ainsley heads to her first book club meeting. And this book club is the cutest thing. They call it the Widow's Circle Book Club. And they never really explain that, but I'm assuming maybe initially it was made up by a bunch of widows, because one of the older gals says that there's not a lot of us left because there's a lot of young people in the group. And it's just the cutest thing. It made me want to join a book club. But they were arguing about, because the younger people had their tablets that they were reading the books on. And then the older people and Ainsley had a book, like an actual bound book with paper pages, right? So I wanted to know, which do you prefer?
Book, 100%.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
totally.
and I have a Kindle, and it's nice because it doesn't have a glare. It's not like reading a book on your phone or on a tablet. It's matte finish, so you can read it like you would read a book. It's just not the same. You're not flipping the pages. It doesn't smell like a book. You can't hold it in your hands like a book. I love a bookstore. I love a library. I love the smell of books.
I totally agree. I want to smell the pages. I want to see how far into the book I am, so that when I put it down, I can tell I've made progress. I love to turn the pages. And I think that's kind of hardwired into our DNA. Like, even as small children, like when my kids are sitting in my lap and I'm reading to them, they always want to turn the pages because it's fun. It's like a sense of accomplishment. That one's done. Let's move on to the next one.
And if I'm reading late at night, okay, how many more pages till the next chapter? I'll just finish this chapter and then I'll put it down.
Yeah. I never stop mid-chapter. People who can do that are psychos. I don't know how you can stop mid-chapter.
I stop mid-chapter.
You too.
I'm a psycho.
Oh my gosh. I can't. No. It's like,
no, I need
it's built
closure
into the book. I have to keep going. This is my marker.
Like, this is your assignment. You have to finish this.
Maybe I didn't used to do that, but having 4 kids, I get interrupted a lot. And so I've just kind of gotten to the place where I can come in and out of a book pretty easily. It's funny. We were recently on vacation with extended family, and I was out on the deck reading a book, and my brother-in-law was having a conversation with my husband, and it was very lively and loud, and they were chatting and having a good time. And then suddenly he looks over to me and he goes, "How can you read when I'm being so loud?" And I was fully immersed in my book. So I did the slow turn as I finished the sentence. And then I was like, I'm fine. He was like, "Wow, you really go into your own little world, don't you?" The way I had to slowly come out of the book and then come back to reality.
It's the book world. It sucks you in. You become part of the story. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah, totally. I love it so much. And I love that my kids have gotten the book bug too, especially my oldest daughter, Abby, recently. She's really into reading, and she's been reading the Hunger Games series. And she tells me all the time, "It's so cool, Mom. It's like I'm watching a movie in my head." And she always is going on about how she'd much rather read than, play Roblox or watch TV or whatever. I'm so happy that you're saying these words.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's really awesome. All right. So anyway, moving on. They never settled the argument. I think they decided to agree to disagree on this one. But I have to agree with the older ladies. Books are definitely better. Now, at the Widow's Circle Book Club, we find out that most of the people there haven't even read the book. And really what they want to do is help with the murder investigation. Because, that's what book clubs should do.
They're just a bunch of busybodies.
And Ainsley is not having it at first. She's like, no, this is not appropriate. We can't be impeding in a police investigation, yada, yada, yada. She finally agrees with the caveat that they do not interfere at all with the investigation and that nothing they discuss leaves the club.
So how's that going to work for you?
No,
Yeah,
it's
right.
not going to work out.
Yeah, right.
And this is just like Aurora Tea Garden.
You
Have
know, I
you guys
actually
haven't
have
seen
never
any of these
seen
movies?
Yeah, I have.
any of the
Mhm.
Aurora Tea Garden. I would really
So
like
that was
to.
book club as well, right?
It was the Real Murders Club, and they would study actual murders that happened in their town or the surrounding area.
Okay.
That's how it started out. And then they
Mhm.
immediately switched to let's solve the real crimes that are happening because this town has a lot of murders.
Oh, okay.
That'd be moving.
So
So
here's
it's
a
very
question.
similar.
Is her name Aurora Tea Garden?
Mhm.
Oh, I always thought maybe her book club was called the Tea Garden or something. Interesting.
No, called the Real Murders Club.
Okay. Well, I still really would like to watch those. I need to at least watch a couple of them.
Yeah, they're good.
Now, in the next scene after book club is adjourned, Ainsley goes to dinner with Jake. And I absolutely loved this scene. It was so hilarious. Jake is so nervous. He was
Mhm.
so cute. And he says to her, because he keeps stumbling over his words, he's saying stupid things. He's just like making a fool of himself. And he looks at her and he goes, I'm acting like I'm trying to put socks on a rooster. I was just cracking up. It was so funny. Yeah, I loved this scene. I thought that they were really cute, and I loved how I really believed he was nervous. It was hilarious. Now they're at a restaurant called Dooley's, and Dooley, the owner, he comes over and he's chatting with Jake and Ainsley. And right around this time, Rachel Dean, the is it widowed? The widower? Is she now a widower? Is that how you say it?
She's a widow, right?
She's
A
a
guy
widow.
would be a widower.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Rick Dean's widow, Rachel Dean, walks into the restaurant. She goes to the bar to order something, which, I mean, I felt like that was a little weird. Like, your husband was just murdered and you're going to go out to dinner. I don't know. I guess we all grieve in our own ways, but like this happened yesterday. So
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. Maybe she was just going to drink.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Anyway, so Julie and Jake tell Ainsley that Rachel and her husband Rick and Michael were in Julie's restaurant the other night, and they were trying to convince him to sell the winery, and he wasn't having it. He eventually leaves. They get into a big fight. He says he's going to divorce her, and Ainsley's crime nose is sniffing. Okay.
Cue the bloodhounds.
Anyway, I can't believe I did that. Anyways, so, because this is appropriate, she goes over to Rachel and starts interrogating her at the bar in the middle of a restaurant the day after her husband is murdered. She asks her for an alibi.
Viciously. Yeah, she sounds like a prosecuting attorney.
It's so weird.
I'm like,
So bad.
and Jake's just sitting there, waiting for his date to come back.
Yeah. Putting socks on a rooster. It was weird. It was weird. But, this reminded me a little bit of Mystery Island, which we reviewed several weeks ago, when they went to the door of one of the guests and she noticed that the gal was missing a pink fingernail, right? Mm-hmm. And this was like a big, important thing in the case. So it was similar to that in that during this scene, Ainsley notices that Rachel has a Band-Aid on her finger. And that's very unusual for someone to have a Band-Aid on their finger.
Band-Aids mean murder.
Uh-huh.
But it just happens to be on
we
the
need a
same
sticker that says
Band-Aid. It just so happens, though, that this Band-Aid is on the same finger as the glove that had a cut in it. Did I say that right? The glove had a cut in it on the same finger that she had a Band-Aid. There we go. That makes more sense.
Yes.
So red flag, I guess. Anyways.
yes.
So after this
That's an
awkward
open and shut case right there.
she had a Band-Aid. I know who did it. So after this weird encounter, her and Jake head home. He takes her home. She lets the dog out and she finds a note on her door saying, "Stay out of it or you're next." And then she goes to bed.
Yeah.
And it's on her
Just
back
stays in her
door.
house.
On her back door.
Yeah.
On her back door that some people don't ever use. She
Mhm.
might have never seen that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But George
Okay.
had to go potty. So
Yes.
she saw it.
Yes.
Yeah. So clearly someone's been creeping around the backside of her house and she
Mhm.
just closes the door and goes to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And there have been a number of times throughout the movie where they've alluded to her past, that she used to be a criminologist in Chicago. Her brother talked her into coming to Sweet River, Texas, and teaching about criminology and, leaving the police force behind. Because at one point he says to her that he wants to protect her like the police department in Chicago couldn't. And so that makes me believe like something bad happened in Chicago. She says this multiple times. A lot of people allude to it. That something bad happened. She was unsafe. It was dangerous. It was scary, whatever it was that happened. So I would think that you find a "stay out of it or your next" sign on your door. You'd probably want to at least call your brother. I don't know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. One thing too that I wanted to mention was when they were at dinner, she asks him, "You're a local, right? You grew up here, right?" And I'm like, "Aren't you? Didn't you grow up here too?" But okay, fine, sure. Let's skip that. And then she says, "How did the town get its name?" I'm like, do lots of people know how their town they live in got its name? Like, is that a normal thing that lots
That's
of people
fair.
know?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't.
Google it, lady.
Like, I don't know.
But he
It
did
was-
know the history.
He knew the answer, but I'm like, how often does the fire chief really know how the town got its name? I don't know. Maybe she needs to come up with some better first date questions.
Yeah.
Maybe. Because we find out that it was named after the river and the sweet crude river or something like that.
Yeah.
Like crude, like oil.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is another clue.
Right. That's why she had to ask the question, right?
Yes.
But I just thought
That's
that
so
was
weird. I wouldn't even ever think to, going on a date. I mean, it's been a very long time since I've been on a date, but I can't imagine going on a date and being like, "So, how did this town that we're in get its name?"
Well, and I mean, I'm just surmising that she grew up there, but maybe she didn't. Maybe she moved away and then her brother and his best friend decided to move there together. I don't know.
Well, I thought in the beginning that Shannon said, "I'm so glad you decided to move back."
Okay.
So
she's from there.
yeah.
So she
And her
should
best
know.
friend lives there. Like all of these.
Yeah.
She's a local.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
All
Weird.
right. And in a small town like that, I guess maybe you would have learned that in school.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
Then she would have
Learned it in
known.
school. Because I got the idea like she grew up there, lived there,
Mhm.
moved to Chicago for this big fancy job. Something bad happened and she
Mhm.
moved back because her brother
Yeah.
wanted her to move back so he could protect her. So,
Well, and she seems like a pretty confident woman. So
mhm.
why ask such a loser question on a date?
Yes.
You think of something
Exactly.
else to talk about.
You know what, though? Speaking of her brother, I really loved that in this movie, she was teaming up with her brother instead of a love interest. I thought that was fun and a different
That
spin.
was
There was
cute.
still like the beginnings of a romance possibly blossoming throughout the movie, right? But
Not with the brother.
but not with the brother. That would be weird. And yeah, the really the main characters were her and her brother. And I thought that was really cool. I liked that. It was a fun little
Although-
twist.
I didn't like the way they made her out to be so much more intelligent and insightful than her brother, the police chief. She was picking up on these clues that he was missing. And yeah, I feel like it could have been a little bit more of an even playing field.
Yeah, like more of a
Mhm.
team effort than her like figuring everything out and him missing literally every clue.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he did listen to her at least.
He did. Mhm.
He
Yes.
did listen to
That's
her
true.
and he took her seriously.
He wasn't just humoring her.
Right. Yeah. So I'm excited actually to learn more about what happened in Chicago. I'm sure we'll have some more information coming in the future movies. And hopefully we'll have some cool flashback scenes and we'll be able to find out what happened. Now,
Yeah.
around this time, we see Shannon, her friend Shannon. She's at the winery. She is considering selling the winery. And she's walking through operations with Mr. Preston, who we find out is a big oil man in Texas. Weird that he wants to buy a winery in Sweet River. But while she's doing this walkthrough with Mr. Preston, the police show up with a warrant to search the vineyard and the home for the murder weapon. And Ainsley just tags along. She's in the police car with her brother. She just, comes along. That's normal. It's fine. And so while she's doing this walkthrough with Mr. Preston, they find in Michael, her husband, in his locker, a bloody shirt and the murder weapon. Dun, dun, dun. But
Here's the thing though. This crime scene would not be open to the public right now.
No.
It would be cordoned
He's
off.
going to buy the winery.
It's literally been 3 days.
Yeah. And they haven't searched it yet. Like, it's not, you're not going to be there. The owners aren't going to be able to go back in. They'll probably have uniform officers at all the doors. Like, this is so unrealistic. This is not happening. Oh, gosh.
But it's great for TV.
The joke's got to work. Well, it's not a joke, but
Yep. So the big old shard of glass and the bloody shirt are in Michael's locker. And they're like, okay, Mike did it. We know because conveniently these items were in his locker. Because what kind of an idiot, anyways. So we get to go to another meeting of the book club, and Jake, the fire chief, decides to join the book club. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but Danny, the assistant at the wine place, he also has joined the book club. Pretty much every vendor at Bless Your Arts is a member of the book club. So they've got a lot of people there now. And actually, even some of Ainsley's students have now joined the book club because everyone in town knows that they're actually trying to solve the murder, including her brother, the police chief. He knows as well. So Jake, the fireman, shows up to the book club. They narrow down the suspects, they think, to Bridget, the daughter, and Rachel, the wife, right? There's some arguments over the will. There's some anger at Rick from Bridget, the daughter. She's mad at him for leaving her mother and for marrying Rachel. So there's all this animosity. But Ainsley keeps saying, I feel like we're missing a suspect. We're missing a suspect. And then randomly, this made me crack up. Okay, maybe I missed something and you guys can help me here if I did. But the book club meeting is over and Jake is chatting with Danny about his shirt. And Danny's like, I really like that shirt I got from you. And Jake's like, oh yeah, come on by. I got some more in different colors if you want some more. I'm like, he owns a shirt shop? He's the fire chief and he also owns a clothing store? What
he
is
did
happening?
he did say he owns a store. Ainsley mentioned it, that like he was as busy as her because he's a fire chief and he owns a store.
Okay.
But he said he has a team that helps him.
Okay. I missed that part. I was like, when did he open a store?
Everybody's multi-talented and sweet.
Yes.
But that makes me think like, okay, are we going to have a murder here in the future where he's going to be accused of murder at his T-shirt shop.
Well, he's not a toy maker or a candle maker or a cookie baker. Unless he makes yarn, I think he's in the clear.
I think all could be vendors in her shop.
Oh my gosh, I bet they are.
Yeah.
You're probably
Like
right.
that Mrs. Weldon who wore that shawl. It looked like a giant quilt that she pulled off of her bed, which is terrible.
Yes. Yep. I bet you're right. Wow. Okay.
Her schoolhouse will just become a murder house. Great. Wonderful.
So after the book club meeting, Jake offers to walk Ainsley home, and they get there. They're going to have some cake and coffee because she just happens to have this delicious coconut cake ready to eat. It looks so good. I was very jealous.
She had time to make cake too.
I mean, it looked very fresh. When are you making cake? I don't know. But her dog, George, he starts barking like crazy, and she goes to the back door, and there's another note that says final warning. Final warning.
She picks it up. Rookie move. She's getting her fingerprints all over it. Why didn't she just call her brother?
Call her brother. But luckily, Fire Chief Jake is there, and he calls her brother because somebody has to. Now, we've got suspects. We've got Bridget. We've got Rachel. Rachel ends up going in for questioning because it turns out that she had a dress that had wine stains on it that she had taken into the dry cleaner. And so she gets taken in for questioning. They find out that she drove over to the winery with Rick Dean, and she got angry at him. They got into a fight. She lost her temper. She hit him over the head with a wine bottle. Psycho, crazy, but he was still alive when she left. He was knocked out, but she left. He was still breathing. So
what? She just left him there?
Yeah, like what?
And she even said, I have anger issues, so I hit him over the head with a wine bottle. You could have killed him. What do you have anger issues?
Honestly.
You just cracked him over the head with a wine bottle and left him there?
Psycho. Crazy.
Yeah.
No wonder he wanted to divorce you. So I'm pretty sure that after that, they let her go. If I'm not mistaken.
She should have been taken in for at least attempted murder.
Right.
Yeah.
But the wine bottle over the head didn't do him in.
Nothing.
No. Yeah. They're like, okay, that's good. Go pick up your dress and get out of town. It's fine.
But not to worry, because meanwhile, Ainsley is doing some research on her computer at Bless Your Arts. And she's looking at this Mr. Preston because it's not sitting right with her that he's an oil man, but he is trying to buy a winery. It's weird, right? So she's looking him up and she sees a family picture. And who is in that family picture? But Danny Avery, the assistant, is actually Danny Preston, his son. Dun, dun, dun. So that's not enough for her. So she goes out and she pretends that Danny needs to sign some document for Bless Your Arts. Even though he doesn't have a booth there, he needs to sign it. And she notices that he signs it with his left hand.
His left hand.
That's the confirmation she needs. So Ainsley and Jake head on over to the winery. And as is typical in these movies, Ainsley does not call the police because that's stupid. I don't know why.
No weapon.
No weapon.
Nothing.
Nothing.
And Jake is like, yeah, sure, let's do it.
Although we find out that he actually did call the police. He just didn't tell her.
Yeah.
Good job, Jake. Good job. So they get to Danny. Danny admits everything. And luckily, Jake has Officer Ryan on the phone and he gets to hear it all. He says it was self-defense because the guy lunged at him and tried to attack him and he was crazy. And then Mr. Preston shows up with a gun. And I tell you, the only reason I notice how giant he is because he's got a gun. And teeny tiny little Ainsley McGregor jumps him and takes him down. I'm like, you are literally an eighth of the size of this man. And yet somehow she takes him down to the ground. Danny and Mr. Preston get arrested. Shannon and Mike are so happy because Mike is released. And yeah.
But did you get what she says to Danny? You're not a bad person. You just did a bad thing. He killed somebody.
Not only did he kill someone, he also framed an innocent man for it. And he changed the books to make it look like this sweet family's winery was failing. Like, he did a lot of bad things.
He was a bad person.
He was a bad person.
Yeah. It's not like he's a 12-year-old kid who's being forced to do things by his dad.
He's a grown up.
Oh gosh.
So anyway, that was the end of that. And Shannon and Mike get everyone together at Bless Your Arts. They thank everyone. They also announce that they're planning to put in a well eventually at the winery, because we find out that the whole reason Mr. Preston wanted to buy the winery is because there's said to be oil there. And so they're going to put in a well eventually and donate some of the proceeds from the oil to the National Police Fund. So,
in case anybody wants to know, it looks like the National Police Fund does not exist. So,
okay.
Great.
Good to know.
Great. We also find out that Ainsley will officially be collaborating with the Sweetwater Police Department from here on out, which was news to her. Her brother made this announcement and she didn't even know. Yeah, she didn't even ask her.
She has 2 other jobs and makes cake in her spare time.
Well, cake's out now because she is collaborating with the Sweetwater.
Maybe she needs to stop researching ways to make jewelry. Sweet River,
sorry. Sweet River Police Department. End scene. So there you go. We did it.
There we go.
We made it through the movie. River. Now, in this segment, I was going to tell you all about Sweetwater, Texas, but the city in the movie is Sweet River, Texas. So I'm not going to tell you about Sweetwater because nobody cares. So
look it up.
Jessica, did you have any information for us about Sweet River?
I do. I looked up Sweet River, Texas, and it is not real. But there is a Sweet River honey, and it is in Driftwood, Texas, which is about an hour from me. And I go there about once a month because my friend owns a coffee shop there. That's absolutely wonderful.
Oh, lovely.
Yes, it's called Sonder Coffee Lounge. So that has nothing to do with the movie, but there you go. That's what we know.
Okay.
That's what we know about Sweet River. So
perfect.
Buy their honey and then go to the coffee shop and have a great day in Driftwood. It's a very cute little town.
Or you could go to Sweetwater, Texas and pretend it's called Sweet River.
True.
So
yeah,
there's that.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we play a game?
Sure.
Let's
all right. So I thought, since we all have been longtime fans of Candace Cameron Bure, that we should play a little CCB trivia.
Okay.
All right. Good. So when did she make her acting debut?
It was a commercial. I don't remember what it was for.
It wasn't Oak Boats.
No. Was it an Oscar Mayer commercial?
The answer is just her age. I don't know what it was.
Oh, sorry. I'm getting too specific.
I give credit.
4? I don't know.
She was 5.
Close.
Close. What role is she best known for?
DJ Tanner.
DJ Tanner.
For sure. Next question. What reality show did she compete on?
Dancing with the Stars.
Yes, very good. What do you know what place she got for extra credit?
She didn't win. Was it 3rd
place?
3rd, yeah. Very good. Okay, a couple more. This one, I did not know this. What Broadway show did she perform in?
Oh, I didn't know she performed in a
I didn't
Broadway show.
either.
Lenz.
Hairspray?
I have no idea.
She was Roxy Hart in Chicago.
Oh, I almost said that. Darn it. Everybody's Roxy Hart in Chicago.
I can see her being a really good Roxy Hart.
She doesn't
Yeah.
sing though, does she?
I think
No.
so.
Not.
I don't know. I'm interested to find some footage of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, 2 more questions. What is her husband well known for?
Like,
Did you guys hear that?
Yeah. What was that?
That was like,
train.
oh, it was the train. I was like, that's some weird
That's the train.
feedback.
It's a horn. They wail on the horn while they come through town.
Okay, sorry.
I did hear it this time.
Not that you could get out of the way if you heard it, it wouldn't matter, but
Yeah. It's too late.
yeah.
Did you guys answer that question? I don't remember.
He's a
All I
hockey
heard
player.
was the train.
He was a professional hockey player.
Yes.
Hockey player.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I lied. That was the last question. So good job, guys.
Yay.
Her and her husband just celebrated 28 years of marriage together, and they have 3 children. And Candace Cameron has 2 new Christmas movies coming out on GAC this year. She has A Christmas Less Traveled opposite Eric Johnson and Home Sweet Christmas with Cameron Matheson. So I'm very excited to see both of those. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to both, but Christmas Less Traveled, I'm really looking forward to. The storyline of that one looks great.
I don't think I actually know what the storyline is on either of them.
No, me
She
either.
finds it's something along the lines of she gets her dad's truck after he's passed away, and there is a tape in there specifically for her dictating a road trip that she should take. And it like goes through different memories that they have together and stuff.
Oh,
And
that's
I
really
think
cool.
the love interest ends up coming with her. I think that's how it plays out.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Kind of like Elizabethtown.
Yes.
I love that movie. So good. All right. It is time to rate the movie based on shards of glass.
Okay.
Well, I'll just jump in and go first. I felt like the series has potential to be really good. As I mentioned in the beginning, I think that they're still kind of getting their footing. But that said, the set design, wardrobe were great. The acting, it was well acted. I liked the ensemble cast. I liked the book club participants. Ainsley comes off a little bit condescending, a little know-it-all for me in the beginning. And my biggest pet peeve of the movie was, and we love Candace Cameron, right? She's adorable. We get it. She's fit. I understand this, but within the first 20 minutes, there were 2 references to her physical fitness. And then she kept saying, I don't do sports. I'm into fitness. I'm tiny. I'm not big enough to hurt you. I'm tiny. I can slip right in. And then Mrs. Weldon says, you're just a tiny little thing. I'm like, okay, we get it. You're tiny. So that was a little annoying for me. I won't watch this particular one again, but I am looking forward to the next in the series because, like I said, I think it has potential to be a really fun murder mystery series. And that said, I'm going to give it 3 shards of glass. I wrote down 3 stars, but we're not rating with stars.
No, ma'am.
We're rating with shards of glass.
So I really liked this movie. Again, I agree. I liked the set deck. I liked the costume design. I liked her hair being straight. Usually we see her hair curly, so I liked it being straight. I thought that was fun. I liked all the casting except for the older gal, and I forget her name, in the book club. She came off, I know she was trying, like they were trying to make her like a persnickety older gal, but she came off a little just a little bit too rude for me. I didn't love that. I thought she was a little ruder than she needed to be.
It reminded me of her character in Christmas on Candy Cane Lane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She plays the like nosy neighbor who's like really mad that the gal hasn't decorated for Christmas yet. And she's just kind of grouchy. And yeah, it reminded me of that.
Yeah. I thought they could have dialed that back just a little bit. Because she was sweet with the dog. And then she's like mean to the pupil. And then I liked the story. Obviously, we had to suspend our disbelief for a lot of it because there were some things that didn't make a lot of sense, but that's kind of par for the course here. But the number of ridiculous Texas phrases, it was too much, especially in the restaurant. They were just one after the other. And I'm like, I think 2, maybe 3 for the whole movie would have been great. I counted 12. And I probably missed some.
And not everybody in Texas talks like that.
No, I've never heard any of these phrases. I've lived here, well, not that long, but like 14 months. And no. And so many howdies and y'alls over and over and over again. So I thought they were like pressing the Texas button just a little bit too much. But I did think it was funny when she said I could throw in a sewing machine while it was still running. Because she was so hyped up on caffeine. I thought that was funny. Aside from that, I enjoyed it. So I think I'm going to do 3.5 on this one.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I too was bothered by the ridiculous number of, I don't know, the Southern slang they were trying to throw in there. Every time she said y'all, it sounded forced and awkward. And I was like, just don't. Like, it's fine. Just say you're in Texas. You don't have to.
A California girl saying y'all.
It did not sound right. And I agree with you. The scene in the restaurant, it was so much. And it didn't feel authentic. It was just like, these people are crazy. What is happening right now? So that was a little much for me. It really truly did seem like people in Canada trying to pretend like they're in Texas. And that's exactly what it was.
Well, because I think you can have that assumption, but I live in San Antonio. So there's a very diverse mix of people here, but I don't know one person that I've met that has a strong Southern accent down here. Not one. So it depends on where you're at. And just because it's a small town doesn't mean that everybody has a super thick accent. So yeah, I think you're right. I think it's that kind of assumption of Canadians playing. It's like when we're saying we're Canadian, we're saying A after every sentence.
Exactly.
Well, most Canadians don't do that.
But I really did enjoy the movie. I thought it was cute. I thought that the characters were great. I thought that the casting was done really well. I will probably not watch this one again, but I definitely will watch the next one. And I will look forward to watching the next one. I also just kind of thought it was fun how I was able to figure out who done it in the first few minutes, because it was the whole movie where I was trying to figure out how, I was trying to figure out the storyline. So even though I was pretty sure I knew who did it in the beginning, I was still able to enjoy the movie because there were so many things going on that it kind of took me on a fun little journey. I also loved the dog. She had conversations with that dog like he was a human. And in the beginning, I was like, what are we doing here? Why is she talking to this dog like he's a human? Not just like a few times here and there. It was like full on conversations, which I love my dogs, but I don't have conversations with them.
Oh, I totally do.
Do you really?
I talk to Henry all the time. Yeah.
As the movie went on, it got cuter and cuter and cuter. And I loved the dog. And so that was really a big plus for me. So I would say that, yes, I would give this also 3 shards of glass. It was not my favorite, but I didn't hate it. And I really loved watching it one time. It was a fun watch. So I'm excited to see what comes next for Ainsley McGregor.
Me too. Let's see if that Christmas tree sticks around.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yes, for sure.
All right. So, looking forward to our next episode. We will be embracing the spooky season and sharing our thoughts on made for TV Halloween movies. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Love on the Pod and share your episode thoughts or ideas by emailing us at loveonthepod@gmail.com. Plus, you can text us with future movie recommendations using the link in our show notes. If you loved this episode and want to hear more, please subscribe to the podcast as we drop new episodes weekly.
So whether you're talking to your dog
Or making coconut cake.
We hope you never get a threatening note on your door. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.